Welcome back to the Roast It Yourself podcast brought to you by Coffee Bean Corral and Current Crop Roasting Shop. I'm Stephen Burnett from Coffee Bean Corral in Jackson, Mississippi. And with me is Catherine Mansell, certified Q grader and director of Current Crop Roasting Shop in New Orleans, Louisiana. Catherine, how are you doing today?
Today's a good day. How about you?
It's a good day. I'm doing good. I heard you were up to your elbows in a roaster repair that we'll discuss later,
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Oh yeah, very much so.
They don't show you that on the poster when you get the job, do they?
Right.
No. Each week we take about 10 minutes to field questions from coffee roasters and professionals, home roasters, everybody who's interested in this stuff and doing it. It's about roasting, tasting, and most importantly, enjoying coffee. If you'd like to have your question answered, just send it to us at questions@riypod.com. That's questions@riypod.com. So creative. And we will give you a shout out. We'll answer your question and you will become famous and probably rich. Probably. This week we have a question that I'm really fascinated. It's a bit technical, but I think it's something we can all sink our teeth into. But we're going to be addressing a question from David C. Gave me permission to say David C. So we're going to answer David's question. This one had me going to the internet to Google furiously and learn a lot. Because this is more above my my pay grade than typical. It gets into some biology, it gets into some genetics, and all kinds of things like that. So
Right.
I Googled and all that kind of stuff. Catherine, of course, was like, she does this in her sleep, so she knew all of it. She just rolls her eyes back in her head and recites facts about coffee. So, but here's the question. I'm going to cut right to the chase here. David asks, I work with several people in the Philippines. They have a type of coffee that grows there called Typica. I know how Arabica and Robusta taste compared with each other, but how does Typica compare? And he mentions he can't find any Filipino coffee around here to try. What are some green coffee beans that you have that are Typica or in the Typica family? Does Typica go through the same process and handling as the other two, like washed, processed, natural, and things like that? Thanks. Well, thank you, David.
Yeah.
Catherine, download.
Sure.
What is Typica? Tell us about it.
Typica is a type of Arabica. So when you think about the different types of coffee, the two main ones that people are aware of and buy are Arabica and Robusta. So you can kind of trace back the lineage of Typica and Bourbon varietals from the very beginning. Of course, they all started in Ethiopia and were taken to Yemen to actually grow. Some key differences in Typica coffees versus other ones that, on their own, the yield of a typical Typica coffee tree is quite low. There really isn't much deterrent from coffee diseases or climate changes. But if you find a high elevation Typica, that's normally going to give you a very good quality cup of coffee. Typica is a little bit more like geisha for me when you're tasting it, especially if you roast it in a way that's a little bit different than the typical way we get folks to roast medium and dark roast coffees down here. If you roast Typica with high heat on the front and have quite a significantly shorter roast, you'll bring out those delicate notes that you really are looking for. So Typica, as an Arabica, is going to have the same sort of caffeine content, anywhere between 1 to 1.3 or 4% caffeine per bean. It's going to be more oval in shape. Robustas are more circular in shape with twice as much caffeine. We have a few different coffees at Current Crop and at Coffee Bean Corral that are singularly Typica. So we've got both the Bolivian coffees, the Caranavi and the Apollo. the Java Indonesian coffee, Bali Blue Moon, and Papua New Guinea Mile High. So when you're looking on the website, if you scroll down after the bio, you'll see all of these varietals that go into whatever coffee that you're drinking. And most of the time you don't see Typica on its own just because of the low yield. So you'll see Typica and Bourbon or Typica and Catuai together, which makes for a stronger plant and a better quality cup. A lot of information that you can find on this topic, especially worldcoffeeresearch.org. They've got varieties, pages upon pages of varieties, and I think a couple years ago, or maybe last year, I was at a coffee festival with one of our traders, and they asked me to work with somebody and talk about varieties as a speaker. So I teamed up with somebody we work very closely with, and most of the research and most of the information that we looked for was all at World Coffee Research. Now these people know their stuff, so that's where most of this information is coming from. But if you want to get the singular Typicas, we've got a few at both locations.
Yeah, and we'll of course link those coffees and the article or the link to World Coffee Research on varieties of coffee in the show notes, so you can kind of follow that up and dive in as much or as little as you'd like. My takeaway from the Typica discussion, and I mean a lot of the roasting that I do, I'm trying to kind of fit all these coffees into the same mold, right? Just because I'm doing fast and dirty, 3 or 4 coffees that are all different every day. And the Typica sounds like it needs a bit more of a delicate touch and a bit more attention to detail.
It does.
And in order to get the most out of it. So it's kind of a challenge of a coffee that's going to be, I mean, I'm just summarizing here, but it sounds to me like subtle notes, like floral and delicate notes, that are grown in a subtle and delicate plant that you have to kind of know how to roast to unlock those flavors.
A lot of practice.
So so it's like, this is not like, ooh, I just started roasting coffee, well, let me just crack the Typica, get the most out of it.
Right.
This is like a bit more of an advanced, of course you can, but it's an advanced move to unlock. So if you roasters have been at it for a while and you don't know that you've tackled the Typica, check the show notes and grab a couple of these out of there and try your hand. See what you can get out of them.
Yeah.
Well, Catherine, thank you for that download. I have nothing to add that will not embarrass me with my own ignorance. So we'll just call that a solid answer.
Yeah.
But before we close out, I mentioned that you were up to your elbows in the guts of a beautiful Aleo bullet roaster.
Oh yeah.
And I can't help whenever I see one of those things, whenever they come up, mention. Now right now we're sold out because there's 2 things that we do with the bullet roaster. We sell them and we sell out of them. Like they are here, like they're here today, gone tomorrow. They're out the door. People buy them so fast. So we have another batch coming through, and we discussed even mentioning them in this podcast, because like by the time the pod comes out, they'll have come in and they'll be gone. So if you're listening to this and you don't know what we're talking about, there'll be a link to that in the show notes as well. You can check it out. But I just wanted to point out that when you get into something like the Bullet and that $3,500 to kilo commercial roaster range, we graduated to the big boy stuff, and that also comes with big boy maintenance.
It does.
But yeah, it does. It's part of the deal. But the Aleo people made it really easy to actually work on those roasters. So, Catherine, what was the problem, real briefly, and what was the fix with that Bullet?
Sure. So it's a customer we all know and love, LJ Strassel, and he's just started a new business. So
friend of the pod too.
Yes. Yeah. He started his own business, roasted coffee. Went from a Gene Cafe to an Aleo Bullet, and he's pumping it out. So what was happening was when he was getting close to the end of the roast, right when he dropped, you would hear the drum really just scraping against the sides. And it looked like it was sort of out of alignment. So he brought it up here, and I went on the Roast World forum. That forum, there are thousands and thousands of people that are talking about issues that they've had and troubleshooting with each other, along with help with Aleo. But we opened it up and noticed that there is, what's it called? a washer on the front that had become a little bit deformed just from constant roasting, which happens. So we added another washer to it to really straighten it up and give it a little bit more thickness, and it's perfect.
Wow. Like, so you were able to fix this roaster with something any hardware store, Home Depot, or most junk drawers have in them.
Oh yeah, and Current Crop sells
yeah.
the washers as parts. I think we have 3 or 4 pages of Aleo parts on our website.
Yeah. Outstanding. And that's the thing. Like, if you happen to be, there's many benefits. This podcast, the subplot of this podcast is if you get to live near Catherine, there are just so many benefits to that.
Right.
And one of them is you can bring your roaster and we'll fix it for you. We'll figure it out with you.
Yeah.
But I mean, we are committed to standing by these products ourselves. Like, if you don't live in New Orleans, you buy one of these roasters from us, we will help you troubleshoot that thing. If you have an issue, if you have a problem, most of the time people don't. But when they do, we're here for it.
Yeah.
We stand by this stuff that we sell. We love it. We use it all the time. I've got mine going just about every single day. I've got something in it to the point of near irresponsibility. Like, I'm letting go of other tasks I should really focus on because I love using the bullet. So, but anyway, they're great roasters. If you hear this podcast, go check and see if they're still in stock because we might have 1 or 2 left. They do sell out quickly, but we continually order them when they sell out. We want to keep them available. For our awesome people that are wanting to bump up from their little desktop, tabletop roasters into that kilo commercial, drive it like a racehorse and start your business kind of way. So that's what we're here for, you guys.
Yeah.
But Catherine, I know for a fact, scientific fact, you did not leave anything out of this discussion whatsoever. However, I probably did. I probably left something out. And so I'm sure somebody listening to this, watching this, is just fuming and mad that I have dropped the ball in this way. And I want you to be able to, dear listener, vent that and get it out of your system and correct me and my wrongness in whatever way that I've been wrong. Hop on the comments and put those things in. Say, hey, this is what you missed. This is what I like. This is what I didn't like. This is a really cool. I love the bullet. I've been using it. I roast Typica like a master. All that kind of stuff. Put it in there. Give us our tips. Give us your tips. Give us advice. And share that, most importantly, with other people in this community, because that's what this is all about. But yeah, if you like the Roast It Yourself podcast, like it, share it with your roasting friends. All the internet things do that for us because we're going to take over the world one listener at a time, and you're a big part of that.
That's right.
If you'd like to have your questions answered, send them in to questions@riypod.com. Questions@riypod.com. You'll get a nice shout out from us, and of course, we'll answer your question, and we'll all benefit and have a lot of fun in the process.
Yeah.
But anyway, other than that, you guys, I hope you have a wonderful, fantastic day, and happy roasting.
Happy roasting. Bye.